It's Miss Brenner. We're back with our nuclear fallout activity. At this point, you should have picked your 10 items. So now we're going to talk about the National Guard's list. That means that you are going to compare your listed items with those that the National Guard recommends for this scenario. Now, with that in mind, obviously, this list could change if there were more items available. So this is just what the National Guard says you should have picked, and this is how we are going to grade your results. So you're going to give yourself a point for each of the items that are shared between your list and the National Guard's list. So let's start our list. So number 10 is dish soap. It can be used to wash off any radioactive dust or particles that have been caught in your hair, clothes, or other items necessary to limit exposure to radioactive particles. So give yourself a point if you picked dish soap. Number 9, a can of pepper spray. An essential part of protecting yourself from unwanted individuals seeking shelter or resources is a method of self-defense. So with that in mind, you don't have to be doing these in your order. So let's say you put dish soap as number 2 as most important. You still get a point. If you put down pepper spray, give yourself a point. Number 8 is flashlight with batteries. There's no guarantee of a reliable electricity source. A battery-powered flashlight would make navigating a shelter or scavenging once you can go outside much easier. So you should want your flashlight. Number 7 is a 3.5 plastic bucket. Has many uses such as carrying materials, washing materials, or holding waste for disposal. Nature still calls even after running water becomes a rare luxury. So your bucket will be extremely useful in this scenario. So number 6 is a winter coat. A nuclear winter will block the sun, causing cold, harsh weather. The coat can be worn to protect your skin from the elements and radioactive dust, and the coat can be washed with that dish soap that you picked up, along with putting some water in a bucket that you now have to wash the coat every time you would have to go outside to scavenge after it is safe to go outside. Or if you'd have to, I guess. All right, number 5 is a first aid kit. The kit contains iodine tablets, which are great for cleansing the body of minor radiation exposure. Don't get your hopes up. It's not going to save you no matter what, but it is definitely a plus to have. Any injury in this environment is serious and should be treated. So the first aid kit is definitely essential. Number 4 is the grocery bag with beef jerky and granola bars. Food is essential for survival, and this food is well preserved. Humans can only go 3 weeks without food, and really, if you're trying to avoid radiation, you should not leave the basement any less than 4 weeks. Would probably be the safe zone. Number 3 is the spray paint respirator. This style of mask will protect your face from radioactive dust particles, which could be deadly to breathe in. So you want to make sure that your eyes are covered, your mouth is covered if you should have to go outside. Number 2 is the map of the area with the coordinates. Our goal is to be rescued. Therefore, we need to know our exact location to inform military forces. The map can also be used to relocate to a destined base or to find resources. So the map will help you get to wherever the safe place is in order to be picked up by military. The map will help you to tell other sources where to find you. The map is essential because without the map, we are going to have a very difficult time getting rescued. And then number 1 is the small transistor radio. In order to be rescued, we will need to be able to receive information that will be sent by the government over the radio. Safe bases, resources, general information about what's happening in the outside world, because we are not going to be able to go outside safely. We are also chancing that electricity will not be working, which means that a small transistor radio runs on batteries, or can be hand cranked depending upon the model, but it doesn't run on an outlet, and it doesn't have to deal with any form of Wi-Fi or any other kind of issue of that matter. So it would be the number 1 way for you to get information to be rescued. So those are our 10 items that would give you a +1 as far as points. If you got all 10 of those items, you are at 100% chance of survival, hopefully. there's always, I suppose, a chance of not making it, but you have a higher likelihood than somebody that doesn't have those 10 items. Now let's talk about the ones that are not recommended by the National Guard. So these items are not recommended in this scenario by the National Guard. Subtract a point for each of the items that are shared between your group list and the National Guard's list. Once again, these items could change if you had more items to choose from, but this is the scenario that we are in, so this is what the National Guard has to say about it. So you are going to subtract a point if you put down a fishing kit with pole. Due to the radiation, the water will be unfit to sustain life. That means you can't drink it, and it means that anything that is swimming in it, living in it, drinking it, you cannot eat because it is toxic. So you cannot eat the fish. So really, I mean, other than being able to poke people with the fishing pole that you have, it's pretty much useless. Sunglasses. Although they may be stylish, they will not protect your eyes and nose from bringing in deadly radiation. So your Ray-Bans should stay in your car, and you should have grabbed the mask instead. The whistle. In order to use the whistle properly, you might have thought to use it to be rescued in order to signal that you need help. But in order to use it properly, that means you'd have to go outside, which is not the best idea in this scenario, and take a deep breath of that radioactive air and blow the whistle. So it's not our best option. So you're going to subtract a point if you put down the whistle. A live trap for small or medium animals. Similar to the fishing pole, any game animal you can catch will have been exposed to radiation and is therefore toxic. You cannot eat them. So even if you'd want to use it for furs, because like we said before, it was cold, it's going to contain radioactive particles. You're not going to want to use it. 10-liter can of oil. This is a situation where you probably should have picked a different item. It's a waste of one of your 10. It has limited uses in this scenario in comparison to other items, since starting a fire will be difficult without any form of starter, mechanical or otherwise. It has limited material to burn, and you have limited space to build a fire in your basement. You could build the fire outside, but as stated before, why would you want to go outside in this scenario? So really, the 10-liter can of oil just isn't as useful as some other items, and that means you wasted your time when you could have got something else. The 46 proof peach schnapps. This form of liquor is only 23% alcohol and therefore cannot be used to effectively clean cuts or injuries. It cannot be used to start a fire, and it will dehydrate anyone who drinks it. Therefore, it's an absolute waste. It's definitely going to be more of a detriment as one of your 10 items than it would be a positive. Also, if you're watching this, you're underage, you can't drink. So, can't have the peach schnapps. You will lose a point for that one. And then that brings us to our items that just don't really matter. You could have picked something better. So these items do not give you a point. They do not take a point away from you. They are okay items, but there were better ones you could have chosen. So these items are not harmful. They're not useless. But anyhow, we got 2 boxes of chocolate, a shaving mirror, 15 feet of rope, and opaque plastic sheeting. They have their own uses, but you would have had a better set of 10 without them. Alrighty, so that is all of our items. At this point, you should be able to look back at your worksheet and congratulations, you have made it safely inside the basement of your house. You wait patiently for any text from your loved ones in hopes that they will be home soon. You sort through your gathered supplies and begin to make plans for your survival when you hear a knock at the door. Overwhelmed with joy, you rush to the front door only to find a group of 12 strangers standing there. The 12 people are hoping to stay with you until the military can come to evacuate the area. But there is not enough food, water, or other supplies to keep them all alive until the atmosphere is safe. To survive, the people must stay inside the fallout shelter for at least a month, so 4 weeks. The problem is that if all of them stay in the shelter with you, and hopefully your loved ones who should be, showing up sometime soon, everyone in the basement will starve to death or dehydrate. There are enough supplies to allow 7 of the 12 people to survive. Your task is to decide, based on the information given, which people will be allowed to remain and live, and which people will be required to leave the shelter and probably die. We will assume that those who are selected to leave will go peacefully. Unfortunately, you still have not heard from your loved ones, and you have no idea what is happening outside of your small basement safe haven. There's a lot to consider when making these choices, as we have no guarantee that the survivors will ever be rescued from the basement, or that these few people are not the only members of society left alive after the nuclear blast. The bottom line is that if human beings are to repopulate the Earth, such repopulation will begin with those survivors chosen by you. Carefully evaluate all information about each of the 12 persons, consider their health, experiences, age, gender, and intelligence, then decide which 7 will be allowed to stay in the shelter and which 5 must leave. Alrighty, so the credentials of the 12 individuals are in a separate page in the nuclear activity folder. So please go look at that for the breakdown of the 12 individuals that you will be choosing from. For part 1, this is your separate piece of paper, by the way. List the 7 people you have that you want to survive and repopulate the Earth, you know, all the necessary things, quickly stating your reasons for keeping them. Then list the 5 you would have leave the shelter and state your rationale for not keeping those people. So you're going to list the ones that you want to keep and why, and the people that you're going to make leave and why you're making them leave. Part 2, after you have made your decisions and formulated your reasons, you will need to post your choices to the Schoology discussion and defend your reasons for keeping some people while forcing others out of the basement shelter. And then we're going to discuss that amongst the class. It's a tough decision, but I trust you guys to make the best of the situation that we find ourselves in. Alrighty, guys, so once again, when you go to look for those 12 people, they are in the nuclear activity folder. Alrighty, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.